cloudy, we have Mihir from QMETRY. He'll be giving us an introduction to the QMETRY Automation Studio, a product demo with a use case and feature demonstration. Over to you, Mihir.
Yeah, hi. Thank you. Uh, good evening, everyone. So let me just start sharing my screen. Okay. I hope it is visible right now. Okay. Yeah, right. So good evening, everyone. My name is Mihir Lakhtaria. I am a business analyst at QMETRY. So today I'm going to walk you all through the latest offering from QMETRY, that is the QMETRY Automation Studio. So this demo will be divided into three parts. Initially, we will be getting to know a bit about QMETRY Automation Studio. Then we'll see that how easy it is to create a test case using QMETRY Automation Studio. We'll be taking a complex and typical example of an e-commerce website. And lastly, we'll be exploring more about the advanced features of Qmetry that is offered. So let us dive into it. So first, understand let us what is the Qmetry Automation Studio. So it is a no-code automation testing platform that aims to provide more efficiency to your manual testing efforts. Right, as you can see in the picture, this will be the service manager that will be available or installed in your local machine or local server as well. So it comes bundled with all the dependencies that it will require to run. You do not have to worry about any installation of dependencies, right? Talking about the platforms that we do provide, we support web browsers such as Chrome, Firefox, Edge. You can also test your Android as well as iOS application, be it the hybrid application, a native application, or hybrid native, or the other kind of Android as well as iOS application. We do also support API testing as well. So once you are done with the installation and activation of the product, you can access the product through web GUI. So the web GUI can be accessed through any of your browser, be it your Chrome, Firefox, or Edge. So let us see that how the product will look like. So as you can see right now, this will be the login or dashboard page of the product. Right, once you install and log into the product, it will represent you the four major modules of our product. The four major modules are test cases, test cycles, components, as well as analytics. So let me explain each of the module in brief. So what is a test cases? A test case would contain all of your testing scenarios. So it will contain all of your testing scenarios, be it test cases written for your mobile as well as web browsers or API as well. Second module will be called as a test cycle. Now, the test cycle is a combination of multiple test cases that you want to run against a multiple platforms. So you can create a combination of multiple test cases against a multiple platforms and run them parallelly as well as sequentially. Now, Qmetry always believes in providing reusability as well as shareability to their end users, right? To make their testing efforts more efficient, we do provide component-based structuring. So, what do I mean by component-based structuring? We'll see later in this session, but it will make your maintenance effort a lot easier compared to the other versions of automation testings. And a last module is the most important one, the analytics one, right? So whatever your testing efforts are should be having a one-stop solution where you can see the live feedback and live status of your execution. You should be given a live and in-depth analytics of all your testing scenarios as well as testing plan. And Qmetry Automation Studio provides you the same. So now, since we have get to know a bit about Qmetry Automation Studio, so let me quickly show you that how easy it is to create a testing scenario using the Qmetry Automation Studio. Now I have taken example of a website that is called as LBB. Now this website is a apparel brand for providing clothing and accessories to men and women. So what we'll do is we'll implement a complex and typical business scenario for any e-commerce website. What we'll do is we'll initially try to search for a product and then filter it out based on some of the criterias, and lastly we'll try to see that whether we are successfully able to save into our wish list or not, and that would be the end of our testing scenario. Now we want to verify that whether after doing all these activities, whether the product is being saved into our wish list or not. So let's just go ahead and do the same. So I'll just switch my screen. Okay. Okay. Now, this is the login page of this QMETRY Automation Studio. So what you will do is you will access the product using this link. It's QMETRY Automation Studio, qs.qmetry.com. After entering your local host on port number, you will be authenticating yourself. Now you can work across multiple workspaces and multiple projects. So what I have a default workspace and I'll select one of the projects, right? And then click on login. Now here you can see the same screen that we have seen in the introduction, or all the four modules are listed here along with the side menu. So what we'll do is we'll create a test case quickly. You can always segregate your test cases into folder and create hierarchical structure. It will help you identify your test cases when you will create a complex structure. So I'll just go ahead and in the shopping tab right now, I'll create a test case. I'll name it as LBB into and since we are dealing with a web test case, I'll select web and provide a short description to it. Let us say, and right. And after that, I'll click on OK. So as soon as I clicked on OK, as you can see, a new test case has been generated for us. If we click onto it, we have two options to create the test steps, right? So either you can take help from this inbuilt recorder that will create test steps for you while you manually traverse the website, or you can enter the steps manually. So we'll be taking help from this record option and see that what it does. So I'll just click on this record button. It will create an empty test case for us, as the first step would be to open a URL. So it will be by default provided to you. Now it's asking me to provide a repository. So what would be a repository? It is nothing but a collection of all of your locators that will be stored while you are accessing the web page. So you can select or save all of your locators into one place. So what I will do is I will go ahead and into web, and then I'll go to shopping, and I have created an LBB repository. So what it will do is it will store all of our locators into one place, so that in future whenever I want to change or refer to that repository or to any particular locator, it will be much easier for me to do so. Now it is asking me to provide a profile. So what would be the profile? So profile would be nothing but the platform that against which I want to test it. So it could be that you want to customize your Chrome browser based on multiple parameters, so you can have multiple versions of the same browser as well, right? So what I will do is I will go ahead with default and click on start recording. Okay, so as soon as I click on the start recording, we can see that we are having a new browser window open for us, right? If I maximize it, right, and if I go to this extension tab, we can see that the QS recorder has already started recording our steps. So there are two ways through which we can capture our actions, right? So QMETRY Automation Studio wants to link each of your action with a unique key, so that you can refer to that key in future or utilize the same key across your test cases. So if you want to maintain a hierarchy, or if you are following a basic structure, you can check this off. So what it will do is it will ask for a unique key whenever you are performing any action. If you click this on, the system will assign unique key automatically upon your action. So currently I am keeping it off, and I'll just trying to access the cycle that we are trying to implement. So apart from the normal click and input action, QMeter also supports a vast range of actions that you can perform. If you want to see the example, so let us say if I want to perform any action on this particular element. So if I just right click onto it, you can see the menu depicts the QS recorder, where you can see numerous option, be it of verification, if you want to wait for this particular element to be present, if you want to be disabled or enabled, and there are also assertions available as well. You can also perform mouse events onto this particular element. Since we want to record, if you since we want to recording this element, I want to perform a mouse hover on it, right? So what I'll do is I will click on mouse over, and as you can see, the action is depicting mouse over here. It's asking me to provide a key here, right? So what I will do is I will make a hierarchy and keep my all of the keys as a uniformity, right? So I'll just name it as LBB and menu open, right? So as you can see, there are a lot of options available for us to choose a particular locator. We can assign multiple strategies. If we want to go ahead with CSS classes, if we want to go ahead with any other kind of IDs, name based structure, we can also select the same. And after giving it a unique key, I'll click on save. Now next, let us say I want to traverse through this tops and t-shirt, right? So I will click on this element and then assign it as lbb underscore that tops, right? So this is how you can perform action and save it as well, right? So now let us say if I scroll down, I want to apply some filters as well. So let us say I want to filter based on t-shirts, right? So I will click on this t-shirt and it is automatically identify the most appropriate locator for us, and it's asking me to provide a key. So what I'll do is I will provide a key. As you can see, I am currently following this kind of structure. So you should be following the JavaScript based variable name structure. It will be much more helpful to you when you will be referring to this key in other steps or other part of the test cases as well. So you can refer to this key using any of this other test steps as well. So now our first filter criteria is applied. Now let us say I want to apply another criteria. So it should be a black color, right? So I'll click on this black and I'll name it as color filter, right? And then click on save. So we are having let's say this are the op products that are to list are that are available to us, right? So now want to verify that this product should be available right here, right? So what I'll do is I will right click on this QS record and verify that it should be present, right? And we'll just provide a key that lbb black t-shirt. Right? This should be available to us, and let us go ahead and click on this. So if I click on this, so we have already provided a key to this element, so that is why it is not asking me for any unique key right now. So I'll do save. A new window will be opened where we'll be completing our cycle, right? So let us say I want to increase the quantity. What I will do is I will click here and name it as lbb, right? Increase quantity and click on save. Now I want to do is I want to save this to my wish list. So I will click on this save and save item. So as soon as I click on this save, it is asking me to provide email ID and password. So I'll just enter some of the credentials and the password. So the it will ask me to provide a key to the action that I have just performed. So I'll provide it as, and as you can see there are multiple options available for us. I can choose from ID, name, XPath. So be even if your website is bit dynamic, you can leverage this tool. And I'll enter password and then click on sign in, right? So as you also see, the password will be always encrypted, right? So you don't have to worry about the security aspect as well. Or and then click on sign in, right? Now we are signed in, right? So I want to complete this cycle. So what I'll do is I will click on this save again, and it should turn into saved right now, right? Now I want to verify that this saved message should be displayed. So what I will do is I will right click on this QS recorder, verify, and then verify text, right? It should be saved, right? And click on save. So this is how you can go ahead, create this test case scenario using QMETRY Automation Studio. So I'll minimize this one right now. I will stop recording, as you can see, the system in the background has recorded all of our steps and assigned key to it, right? So let us say if I want to see that what was this element. So this element, click on this location. So the locator was lbb underscore tops, right? Now if you want to verify that whatever you have recorded is correctly recorded or not, so what you can do is you can go ahead, make a dry run out of it. So dry run will help you verify that whether all of whatever you have recorded is recorded correctly or not. So I will go ahead and then click on any of this platform. So I'll go ahead with default and click on dry run. So as soon as I click on dry run, as you can see, this new window is open right now and it will start executing for us. At the same time, if we go to analytics, we can see the live execution of the same uh, So it will provide a live feedback to us, right? So all of this should be given to us live, right? So as you can see, this name of this step, the order in which it was presented, and the duration through which it was running, right? So this was about this recording of test steps. Now let us explore some of the unique features of QMETRY Automation Studio. Right. So what are some of the unique features? The first feature that I want to highlight is the BDD view. So QMETRY Automation Studio implements the behavior-driven development approach, where all of your testing steps will be listed in given, when, and then kind of structure. So why it is useful for us? So be it your testing engineer, be it your business analyst, be it your product owner, it makes a much easier for anyone to go ahead and understand the flow of this test case, and also they can manage it, the test case as well. So this is how the BDD view comes into picture. I'll show you that how you can do it as well. Right. So if I go back to this test page, right, if I go to any of the test step that we just recorded, right, and if we go to this bottom right, so in this input box, you can arrange or input new test step as well. Or if you want to search for a step, you can always take help from this drag and drop action, where all of the actions are, uh, segregated based upon the nature. Right. Now, Qmetry Automation Studio's BDD View is equipped with artificial intelligence technology, right? So, let us say if you are making any change to this test tab, then it will always make the structure correct according to the industry best practices, that is Gherkin language, right? So, if I just try to rearrange this, so now just observe this. Currently, it is then condition, and after it, it is when condition. So, if I make any change to it, right? So, the flow has been changed, right? And the then is come down. So, it will always make your flow correct, and it will always make sense to anyone who doesn't necessarily have an idea of automation programming. It will be easy for them to understand the flow as well as manage the test cases as well. Now, this was about BDD view. As previously I've explained, that Qmetry always supports the component-based structuring. So, what do I mean by components-based structuring? So, if you see the initial two components are having a quite similar nature, right? So, I'll explain what is the use of this standard as well as shareable cases. Now, assume a scenario that you are incorporating a group of steps across multiple test cases, right? So, in that case, rather than writing manually in each test cases, what you can do is you can create a standard or shareable test case, and then use or utilize that test component across multiple test cases. So the key difference between standard and shareable component is that if you make any change into the standard component, it will not reflect in the existing test cases that utilizes the component, and if you make any change to the shareable component, it will reflect into all the existing test cases that utilizes it. So let's just go ahead and create a shareable component, right? So we have used this login feature, right? So if I want to make a shareable test case, since I'll be using this three steps multiple times across my system, so what I will do is I will select these two steps, right, and then go ahead, right click on create, and create standard or shareable component. I can name it as lbb stc login, right? Once you click on that, as you can see, it has created a group of step into a single step that will be named as lbb underscore stc underscore login, right? Now if you want to use this step across multiple test cases, so what you can do is, let me just show you how you can implement the same. I will go here, in the bottom part, what I will write is, I will try to write the key. So this is the shareable test case that we just generated. So as you can see, this is how you can incorporate the shareable test case across multiple test cases. So this was about the shareable test cases and standard test cases. Now, if I want to, execute some logic based execution, that can also be done, right? So if you want to perform some of the action based on a condition, right? So let's just go ahead and take an example for us. So what I will do is I will again switch to an application that we are using now. Okay. Right. So this is the application that is named as Qmetry Bank. So what it will do is we'll be having a unique ID and password, and after logging in, a user can perform debit or credit operation, right? Now I want to provide a dynamic condition, right? So whenever based on the amount, I want to perform a particular action based on a condition, right? So what I will do is I will go ahead. Just a second. Okay. So what I will do is I will go ahead to this. I'm trying to. Okay. So what I'll do is I will go ahead to this a test case that I have just created, that is named as balance check, right? So as you can see, I have created a condition here that if the displayed balance is less than $1,000, I'll be crediting $100 to it, and if the balance is more than $1,000, I'll be debiting $100 of it. So what I am actually doing in this is, initially I am getting a value to my variable. So as you can see, you can also run javascript if you have an idea of it. So you can run javascript internally as well while doing your execution. So I have got this value to my variable as displayed balance, and if the balance is less than 1,000, it will credit 100. If the balance is more than 1,000, it will debit 100. So we'll just make a dry run out of it and click on dry run, right? So as soon as I click on dry run, it will open up a new page and perform the action, right? So since the last time we have checked, the balance was 2701. If I again refresh it, it is 2601. So this is how you can intelligently make a decision based execution as well, right? So this is a conditional component was all about that. Now the another component that I want to emphasize is looping based execution. Now assume a test scenario that we have implemented the LBB, right? So if you want to perform multiple repetition of the same action or a group of action, you can always go ahead and create looping structure as well. So if I show you an example of looping structure. Okay, so yeah, so the looping structure that I was talking about, that I'll go to the test case that we have just created. Now as you can see, we have once used this increased quantity button, right? So if you want to increase it multiple times, so what I will do is I will create a repeat block out of it. Name is at increased to 3, let us say, right? So will we start a counter 0 from 2, right? So it will start counting from 0 to 2, and it will be incrementing its value by 1. So in total it will run this particular step thrice. So this is how you can also include looping into your execution as well. Now also a new kind of feature that is most required by testers is the data parameterization, right? So assume a scenario that you are executing a same test case across multiple parameters. Let us say if you are executing some of the user ID and password combination, and if you want to test it that whether everything will be go ahead as per planned or not. So you can rather than writing each and every test case, that will be your like every user ID and password manually and then executing it. So rather than that, what you can do is create a data test data and assign that test data to a test case. So I'll show you that how you can do that. So what I have done here is I've created a sample for you. QMETRY Bank. We will be using the same application and we'll be using the user ID and password example, right? So what you can do is you can access the variables, right? So what I'll do is I'll create a link the data set, login data. Now you have provision. If you want to include all of your test data or some of the test data, I will go ahead and include all. I'll show you that how this test data will look like. If you go to this test data and select a particular data, here you have a rows and column kind of structure where you can provide your test data. Or additionally, you can always, let us say, sample data. Additionally, you can always import your data using a CSV or JSON file as well. Right, so we are having the set of user ID and password, out of which only one is correct, right? So what I will do is I will link the data set, login, right? We have link all of the data set, and then I'll fire the execution to conditional block. Right, we have got the message that execution has been started. Let us till then go ahead to the analytics tab and see that what is currently happening. So in the background, right, as you can see, it is executing. So as you can see, the user ID and password is not matching. So only one of this combination was correct. So what we will do is we will go ahead, see this. This was login successful. So we'll go back to our analytics page, right, and see the current execution status, right. See, since it is currently executing, so we are getting the live feedback of it. So if we refresh, right, so we'll getting the live execution status as well. So as you can see, rather than writing the all of the test cases manually, what I have done is I have created a data set, attached it to my test case, and then fired an execution. So at the same time, 5 of my data were being tested against the same test case, and out of which only one was correct, right. So this is how you can achieve the data parameterization and improve efficiency of your testing. The next thing that I want to highlight is the execution profile, right. So as you can see in the picture, the right top picture, apart from the local platform that you can test, be it your Chrome browser, be it your Android or iOS application, you can test multiple third party platform provided tools as well. So be it your source lab, browser stack, Cobiton, there are numerous options for available for us to test against your test cases, right. So you are not limited to test the platforms that are included on your device or your server as well. So if I show you an example, so I go back to my product, right. I will go manage profiles, right. If you click on this manage profile button, you will be shown all of the current profile that are available to you. If you click on this create, you can see that after naming it, there are numerous options for you to available to select a platform, and you can also select the platform provider as well. It could be a local lambda test, source lab, right, perfecto, headspin, and other would be if you are having your own custom selenium grid, you can do that. Now, a unique feature of your this profile is that if you want to perform multi-platform test execution, you can also do that. What do I mean by that? That if you want to test a browser, let us say you are testing a browser based application, right? And in between, if you want to fire a API query, you can also do that. And let us say there should be a complex scenario that if you want to execute half of your test case into some of the, let us say, browser, and later half of the execution into some other kind of application, be it your iOS or Android application, you can do that. Now, all this has been made possible by more than 180 plus inbuilt actions. You have the facility to, kind of modify them. And in future, we are coming up with the idea that you can implement your own custom action as well. So we do also support open API support. So that can be linked with your CI/CD tools such as Jenkins and Bamboo. So what you can do is, for example, if you are creating a Jenkins pipeline, you can trigger the execution from your pipeline as a build action, and you can start the execution right then and there, right. So AI and ML based capabilities I want to highlight is that it comes with a smart wait, right. So AI backed capabilities that you can wait for element to be in a desired state. It could be wait for enable, disable, and using this auto heal feature that is backed by the machine learning capabilities, what you can do is you can achieve the test execution between multiple version of the same software. So if I just quickly show you this example. So this is the one version of my application. This is the second version of my application. Now I can run the same test case again across multiple versions of the same product, right? So we have received around 80 to 90% of the case. We do not have to manually maintain our test case to test them across multiple variants. And this is how you can achieve auto heal features, right? So it will automatically adapt to the new changes using the machine learning capabilities. And last topic that I want to cover is the live and in-depth analytics, right? So all of your testing efforts should have a live and in-depth analytics so that you can refer to it. So if I show you an example of it, so I'll just share my screen, right. As soon as we go to analytics tab, we can see the recent execution on the left side of our page and detailed analysis on the right side of my page, right. So that you can have an idea that what are the current status of your testing plan. Right. So on the top, you can see an executive summary that lists that how many test cases were involved, how many got passed, and how many got failed, and how many of them got skipped. Right. If you want to see the detailed execution level of a test case, you can click on this test case and see that how much time it took and what was the status of it. If you want to see that why it got failed, you can click on this tab right? And you can get a detailed representation that why it got failed along with a screenshot. You can configure the screenshot on profile level. You can also see the kind of commands that were fired, right? So it was trying to find an element using id that was named as user global rank, but it could not find it, right? So this is how detailed execution analytics is presented to you. So this is all about the QMetry Automation Studio. We do have our own dedicated support page where you can go ahead and try to learn more about the product. And if you want any help, you can always go ahead and get help from a dedicated support team by raising a ticket. If you want to register for a free trial, you can go ahead to qmetry.com/qmetry automation studios registration. And if you need any additional information, you can always reach out to us at info@qmetry.com. So thank you so much for being present here. Looking forward to talk with you all soon. Bye.
Thank you so much, Mihir, for a detailed walkthrough of the platform. I believe the viewers definitely enjoyed it. We have a few questions, Mihir, but as we are
Hmm.
out of time, we'll be emailing you the questions and you can respond back to us on them. And we can forward it to the participants who are viewing at the moment.
Okay. No worries. Thank
Great.
you.